The SPY got to close back above the 200-day moving average, and we're noticing that this is the area where people might get excited and say, this is a big moment for a squeeze. But this actual purple line is something we're going to talk about today and talk about what the first stage of a squeeze can look like and what you want to do around these areas or what decisions you may have to make in order to stay away from a potential for a big drop. So let's get into it. This video will have a heavy focus on the SPY and just the QQQs, but mainly looking at the SPY and talking about volatility. That way we understand, hey, we know our plan with our trades with those individual stocks. And you guys might have heard me even this morning say, wow, we're heading up to those levels. Amazon's outside of that move. And where the SPY is at right now, I think that it is vulnerable for the week to see a bigger 30-minute or 2-hour pullback. Now, this is me assuming risk in a different way. Right? If I get rid of all of my calls to the upside, hey, I can take profit and make great money, but I could have made better money, right? You might hear people say could have all the time. That's opportunity cost. I am not shorting anything in these areas. I think this is great and has high potential to squeeze, but I think it at equal value has high potential to pull back to fake people out before it's able to curl up one more time towards the end of the week. Because of the weekly expected move, and we are at it or towards it on Tuesday and likely to see a move outside of that, that's where we're going to pay attention to the top side daily expected move of 579.98, which is very close to what? 580. We've been looking for that 580 level to become important. 570.94 to the downside. So we could see this upward move that then pushes us back down to lower levels. This is the area where decision making has to take place. It's the first area that if you're able to get through it, maybe you're just able to hold and that thing squeezes, well, then it's very likely to take off above 580. But if we run our heads into this area and we're able to see a pullback early on in the week, that would be the risk to the downside. So to play this overall move, I took profit, made a solid profit on the way up on my individual stocks, Meta and Amazon. Took profit out there looking for the 30-minute pullback because I see that as slightly more probable, and I am willing to risk my opportunity cost for that because that doesn't technically cost me hard money out of my portfolio. So I just wanted to explain that. As this video stands right now, you can see the 30-minute is still positive. We notice that the 30-minute can remain overbought for a very long time, so just be aware of that. And it is very likely that this 30-minute turning down, most likely we need to go in that upward direction to see that fake out to the upside to really trap some bulls. So we'll be watching it. For the time being, if the 2-hour were to cross, this could be a little bit meaner of a pullback. 2-hour crosses down, and then we see some kind of reaction maybe into next week. This is the scenario I'm really interested in, but I understand that there is high possibility to squeeze further from these levels, right? The squeeze further from these levels, people always asking me during a squeeze, hey, where do I want to short this? Where do I want to short this? My answer in a short squeeze, I've made this mistake before. I do not short a short squeeze. It would be hypocritical of me to be like, oh yeah, a short squeeze is really, really hard to short. And sometimes you just got to hold your calls through it and see that thing keep going up and then take a short position. That just makes no sense to me at all, because the risk is I could be wrong about this completely. We could gap up and then those options will be worth zero. Shorting a short squeeze is not the best idea in the world, I would say that, but I understand if you're having those inclinations as we approach the weekly expected move, which tells us the risk for the week is we could head down from these levels. Something interesting with the Qs to pay attention to, and that's the fact that the weekly expected move is sitting right on the 200, and we are right pretty much at it at this point. Now, we are curled up on the daily, right? I'm not saying this has to be some kind of mega drop. I'm aware that that 550 for the SPY can happen. This is curled up. Hey, go, go, go. I'm down for it. Keep going. Get that higher low, and then we'll see some more upside. That's fantastic. I'm just talking about the risk of right now. And the risk right now is we're running into the weekly expected move with 3 whole days left for the Qs to land back in our 68% zone, right? If we said by the end of this week, the most likely area to probably land by the end of this week is in this box, not necessarily up here. A squeeze is going to be the lower percentage thing, but I think with the structure we've made below, you do have a high chance of it. And in this point, you do have a high chance of a 30-minute pullback. So where would that 30-minute go to? Well, 498.67, if we're going to continue that upside for a bit, that's great. Gap resistance can come in. But then to the downside, if we're able to head a little bit lower, hey, 488.25 for your daily expected move downside. So we'll be paying attention to it. If we see gaps or anything like that, hey, I'm going to be paying attention to this gap. It would be a very good move to move down in these areas and then see that curl right back up on the 2-hour chart. So These are just some things I'm watching, and I really wanted to point out the fact that this is the first time that you have a decision to be made. Those decisions would be along the lines of, in my opinion, from a trader's perspective, it would be, hey, am I going to hold on to this thing? Am I really saying, yeah, I'm confident in a squeeze? And I'm saying, hey, even though that's low probability for the week, hey, maybe I'm trying to get a little bit lucky and I see the writing on the wall. And the other scenario I think would be, hey, maybe I take a little bit off and then or hedge this in some way. And that would be the way, another decision making tool that you can utilize at certain times. And then there's the decision that I made, which was I'm going to say that this is going to pull back. I think this is too much, too fast for this week. And I think we still have data coming down the line. So I think a 30-minute pullback or a 2-hour pullback is very likely to potentially go fill this gap. And then we'll see from there if it's able to turn back up. Hey, I'll be right. And that will be good. And the only thing I'm risking is if this squeezes, I don't lose money, but I lose opportunity cost. And just to show you one stock that looks pretty damn good. I mean, look at this structure it is creating. I mean, you're coming up to these levels. You're really solidifying, hey, the 2 hours curled up into positive territory. It's go time. But if that 2-hour flashes down, uh-oh, you might have some problems there, okay? You do have forms of divergence here for Nvidia, even with the great structure. This is how these great structural moves fail, and you end up going to fill something down at 108.50 very quickly, right? These things can fail pretty rapidly, give you a little double top in here, and then just fall straight down. So we'll be watching that. I'm not necessarily saying I'm leaning towards it. I'm not shorting anything at this point. I'm just saying stocks could have another move down before they move again to the upside. So that's something I'm paying attention to. This has curled up into positive territory. The 30-minute has tried to remain by that center line. So this easily could be just the 30-minute gaps up tomorrow, and then Nvidia's off to the races. But you see how it's almost a 50-50 flip going into tomorrow. So doing things like making those decisions or hedging or doing those kinds of things, this is the perfect time to start forming that kind of plan. And I would say if you're trying to do that as of this moment right now, I'd say I would have a plan for that in the next trading session is all I would say about that. One thing that I did find was interesting when it comes to volatility is the volatility of volatility was heightened, right? It was up 7% on the day. It does have a 2-hour reversal signal on the MACD, not on the RSI at the same time. Volatility itself does not have those reversal signals on the 2-hour. So even if it does see a move from this 2-hour, because the 30-minute is showing potential divergences down here on your MACD and RSI at the same time, down by our 1683, perfect stuff. If this is going to get some kind of reaction here, it would lean more towards pullback. Where we start to worry about deeper and deeper and deeper prices is if volatility remains, sees that support on the 200, curls up into positive territory on a daily chart. Using multiple time frames is a skill that I've gained, and it's really helped out my trading. As of right now, we're paying attention to right here because this is where support can come in for volatility. And you see how if we can wipe that out, we can quickly head down towards 1212. So you really are in one of those times where it's like we could potentially keep squeezing, but it seems like the more probable thing, at least for this week specifically, is some kind of pullback, a deeper pullback, maybe on the 30-minute or the 2-hour chart. So how you want to think about this going forward? I mean, overall, we have our probabilities. This is our 68% zone for the week, 32% chance to see something crazy. Now, a squeeze is a crazy thing, and I think that probability is there, so I totally understand. But having a plan at the right times, and this is the right time. Notice we weren't fully talking about that yesterday, but we are talking about it today as we gradually head to the upside. And we head up towards that. We see this about to curl up. We want to be aware if some kind of bigger pullback is going to show its face, all right? That would be very, very important for us to be aware of. If we could take back 580, that would be a good thing. So a gap above that and remaining above there might just cause this squeeze to go ballistic. So we'll be watching, right? We'll be watching, we'll be managing risk, we'll be making sure to have a plan for if things go right, but also if they potentially could go wrong, right? We have good trades, we have good profits. So something good to do around here is really think about your decision making. Do I want to hold on to those profits? Do I want to risk those profits to try to make a ton of money? Or do I want to potentially take some profit off or hedge in some way? And that's overall what I've decided. I have decided to completely get out of my positions here. And if a squeeze does happen, I would miss out. Bummer, that's opportunity cost, but I was able to make money in the move. And I think a pullback down to these lower levels is something that I'm going to be aware of and more probable at this point for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. Please join our live streams over on Rumble at the close. We are there. If you just log in, go over to the link down in the description for Rumble. It's right down there in the description. You can join us for the Power Hour stream completely free over on Rumble. We do YouTube in the morning, Rumble in the afternoon for the YouTube at the open, Rumble at the close. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this community. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. You guys are fantastic about that. I hope you are understanding the point of this video about decision making. We will talk about it more during the live show tomorrow. All right, guys. Peace out.